Montreal Canadiens win it. Edmonton 0-1-1 to kick off a 3-game road trip out in Canada's East Coast. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream Postgame show. Tom Gazzola with you inside the EST studios alongside Hernan Salas. Our game analyst, Matt Kassian, will be joining us shortly to break it all down. The Oilers complaint line is 780-218-9999. Let us know your thoughts. We are looking forward to reading a lot of angry texts tonight. And then if you're watching on YouTube, despite the performance of the team and the end result, please hit that thumbs up button and get into the nasty chat as this team lays an egg in Montreal. No bueno, as Hernan Salas likes to put it. And Hernan's going to pop up here right away, and he's going to pop off potentially like he did Saturday night, which was a lot of fun to see. A lot of people that didn't know Hernan from before got a small dose of the Latino heat the other night, and they were like, whoa, I like that guy. Well, we like him too. Of course, the postgame show brought to you by GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Edmonton falls to 9-8-2. Montreal improves to 7-10-2. We are fast approaching Game 20, which goes tomorrow night, 5 p.m. And that's a quarter of the way through the season. The Oilers, not good enough. Not good enough. Let's get the Latino heat on here. Hello. Hola, Hernan.
No more prime games, Tom.
They don't score in prime games. 0
goals in the prime games, so no more. Please.
Stop it. Well, they have a couple more. I'm sorry. But they do.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Just listen, early on, this team had it. Zach Hyman could have had a hattie in the first period. Doesn't buckle down, doesn't score. They get power plays early, Tom. Once again, trying to pass the damn puck into the net. Not setting up the shots, just too nonchalant out there. Where's the urgency with this team? Leon Draisaitl for the second goal, was it?
Awful.
Gets beat by Cole Caulfield. Cole Caulfield's a talented player, Tom.
But he turned it over. So bad.
So is Leon Draisaitl, and there's a big height and weight difference there. And then after that, the next shift, Cole Caulfield beat him again.
Mm-hmm.
That's not acceptable. Your top pairing of Bouchard and Ekholm, -3 on the night. Awful. Go look at the first goal. Sure, a lot of culprits. But look at Bouchard's effort coming back once again. Gallagher gets the tip. There's no one around him. The 2 defensemen and Connor Brown are all in the area. No one ties him up. Not one single Oiler again. Sure, PK is a positive. But you just lost and got shut out to one of the worst teams in the NHL, Tom. That we had a guest on EST Afternoons, and he goes, if the Oilers score 3, it's over because this team ain't scoring more than 3 goals.
Well, they got 3, and they won. The Montreal Canadiens did.
It is unbelievable how uninspiring this team looks. It is unbelievable the lack of urgency this team has. I think Nuge played his 900th game tonight. I'm not 100% sure.
I heard his name a few times.
It's just not good enough. I'm tired of Podkolzin and everybody telling me how good he is at retrieving pucks. You need to score. You need to produce. I don't care if you retrieve pucks or not, if you do nothing with them. And again, this is a 2-man team. If Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are out there, there's nothing happening for this team. Very disappointing, Tom. And I'll be honest, I don't think they win tomorrow because Ottawa is a lot better than this team we saw tonight. A lot better. And this is a horrible start to the road trip, something that we hope didn't happen, but you gave up a point against Toronto. You lay an egg tonight. I wouldn't say lay an egg because I thought they had some good opportunities.
Oh, I'd say they laid an egg
okay,
tonight.
fair
Absolutely.
enough. But
they were not good.
They had some really good looks early on. They can't finish. And Tom, I mean, with all the issues this team has, power plays right up there, goal scoring's a huge one. But that second goal on Calvin Pickard, if that was Stuart Skinner, we'd be torching him. So Calvin Pickard doesn't get special treatment here. That's an awful goal to give up.
Yes, it is. Absolutely terrible. It comes off a Draisaitl turnover inside the zone on the half wall. A couple of passes later, and it beats Calvin Pickard clean on the blocker side. Caden Goalie, the former Oil King. He's going to be a very good defenseman for a long time in this league. But Pickard got a little piece of it, but it still goes behind him and in. Let's get to the scoring summary. Of course, we want your text 780-218-9999. Your thoughts on Edmonton's disappointing 3-0 shutout loss at the hands of the lowly Montreal Canadiens. Brendan Gallagher continues to have a very strong season for the Habs. He's got his 8th goal of the season to open things up from Mike Matheson at 19:29 of the second period after a scoreless first where Edmonton was out shooting Montreal handily and was unable to generate anything in terms of offense, goal-wise. 1-0 Habs after one on the late goal from Gallagher in the third period. 5:52 in. Oilers can't get it out of their own zone after having clear possession of it. A couple of passes later from Evans to Caulfield to Goalie, and he buries his 2nd of the season. Caulfield, his 4th assist. Evans, his 6th. 2-0 Habs. You knew this one was over because the Oilers really didn't wake up at all, even after that 2-0 goal. Yeah, sure, they had possession time. That's great. But a lot of circling the outside for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. And I'm looking forward to hearing what Matt Kassian has to say about guys like Zach Hyman, Podkolzin, absolutely, Jeff Skinner, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, about perimeter play there. Cass can give us a little insight into what the heck is not going on for the Oilers. Jake Evans would score into the empty net, by the way. Edmonton pulled their goalie with just under 5 minutes left to play, or even around the 5-minute mark. Evans converts at 16:52, 3-0 Montreal. Nick Suzuki picking up the assist. That's your final. In terms of game stats for this one, shots on goal 30-25 in favor of the Oilers. They win the face-off battle 56.4 to 43.6%. The power play, useless again, 0 for 3. PK. Hernan said it. That's 3 games in a row now? They've killed off everything, so a step in the right direction there. They went 2 for 2 on the PK. Hits 19-13 in favor of the Habs. Block shots 15 apiece. Giveaways officially 14 for Edmonton to Montreal's 9. Takeaways 6 for the Habs. 3 for the Oilers. The big numbers that matter. 3 for Montreal and a big old donut for the Oilers as they are shut out for the 3rd time this season. And if you think it back to last year, our dear friend and colleague Reed Wilkins texted me right before the end of the game. He said the Oilers were shut out thrice last season, and then you can add a 4th time they were shut out when they lost Game 1 of the Cup final to the Florida Panthers. I believe that one was also a 3-0 decision. But this is game number 19 on the season, and Edmonton has been blanked 3 times. They do not score goals. They keep everything to the outside. They looked like they were absolutely afraid to attack the middle tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And outside of Arbor Xhekaj, I don't know who you would be afraid of going into the middle of the ice in the Habs zone against. Caden Goalie, maybe he gets bigger, stronger, and meaner as his career progresses and he gets more comfortable, but he is in his, 2nd full season in the National Hockey League. I wouldn't be afraid to attack the middle with him there.
Tom,
I don't know.
It's because they don't want to put in the effort. You need effort. You need guts to go into that area. We were watching the game here, Tom, and you looked at me and you said, when have they crashed the net?
Never.
When? I had a buddy text me, another media member. He texted me the same thing. Everything's to the outside. The power play, it's Connor McDavid. There was one when Jody Shelley says the only guy moving on the power play is Connor McDavid because he's circling the whole damn the offensive zone, and everybody's just standing there waiting for him to find Draisaitl. Like it's frustrating. And Tom, will this goal scoring drought continue? It might, Tom. We're close to game 20. And once you hit the game 20 and over, I think this is what your team is going to be. At least the Oilers, they have a lot of talented guys that are not producing. Skinner, Nugent-Hopkins is MIA. Zach Hyman can't score again. He had a wide open net set up by McDavid there.
Stand on it.
And what did we say in the pregame? You got to jump on these guys early. Don't give them any hope, but the Oilers let them hang around because they're out there so lax, so calm and relaxed, like, hey, we're in Montreal. Maybe we're not feeling our best today. We're just going to try to win on our skill. And it doesn't matter because you just lost to the 31st place team in the damn league.
Well, they vaulted Detroit with that big win, giving them 16 points, 7-10-2 are those Habs.
It is unbelievable, but this is why you play the game, Tom, because when teams like the Oilers, who are Stanley Cup contenders, according to many,
They should be.
They just can't figure it out. They can't. And Tom,
listen,
like we keep saying, oh, don't worry, it's going to come. What if it doesn't? Because right now, from what I'm seeing, this decor's not good enough. The goaltending's not good enough. And you're having a lot of down years for a lot of your players. A lot.
That is true. 19 games into the season, that is true. They're 9-8-2. They should be better than that. They should be at least 12 wins, I would think. They pissed one away tonight. You can't have that. They can't score on Amazon Prime. Whatever, if you want to make a conspiracy theory there. But
And for the first time, we've seen Connor McDavid frustrated, but this is the first time I've seen Connor McDavid showing his frustrations in the first period. And it went on.
Yeah, because nobody can make a play.
Because no one can make a play. No one can make a pass. Everybody's standing around looking at him on the power play. You saw him at the end of the game kind of slam the door and just shaking his head. Like, this is getting old. Because I'm going to bring up something, Tom, that I don't think a lot of people remember. Do you remember they were showing behind the scenes when Edmonton finally beat Vancouver in Game 7?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was happy in the dressing room, and Draisaitl just sat there, and he looked at everybody, and he said, we got to stop doing this. And what he meant by that, we got to stop blowing leads and playing so lax when we're up or when we're feeling good about ourselves. It's the same thing now, man. Like, this team, every year, there's something, Tom. It's never just good, like, this is a good team. They're playing the right way. You're going to lose games. Florida loses games. New York loses games. I get it. But the way this team starts is just getting old. And I'm done with Bouchard's a slow starter, and this guy's that, and this guy's that.
He is.
Step up.
Yeah.
It's time to step up. Step up now. Arvidsson's out. Nurse is out. Step up somebody else other than Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, even though Leon Draisaitl had a rough game tonight.
Yes, he did, among many. All right, Matt Kassian ready to jump in right away here. That means we get to the turning point of the game, presented by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, we treat you like the pros. Our multidisciplinary team includes sports medicine physicians, along with highly skilled physiotherapists, strength and conditioning coaches, and massage therapists. Whether you're recovering from an injury or looking to enhance performance, we treat you like a pro using the same locker room approach, trusted by the best in the game. We go back to late in the second period. At 19:29 to be exact, the Oilers unable to get the puck out of their zone. The Oilers very nonchalant in front of their own net. And Brendan Gallagher redirects a Mike Matheson shot home past Calvin Pickard. And that was all the offense the Habs would need tonight, as that 1-0 tally was the game-winning goal. Gallagher having a good season, 8 goals on the season. So is Mike Matheson, his 12th assist of the year. And that one was the one that broke the camel's back. I know I'm, stretching the truth a little bit there. The Oilers did have some jump in the third period, but they let Goalie score just 5:52 in. Bad turnover in their own zone. A couple of passes, and then you can't get a blocker save from Calvin Pickard on what seemed like harmless wrist shot from Caden Goalie. But the turning point of the game, brought to you by Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy, is Brendan Gallagher's goal at 19:29 of the second period. A late goal. Those are killers. Coaches hate them. And that was it. So there you go. As we welcome in our game analyst, Matt Kassian. He was ready to rock and roll. We highly encourage you to text in to the Oilers complaint line tonight, 780-218-9999. I'll rattle off a couple as we get set for Cass. Andy Pandy chiming in here says, too many passengers again. This team needs an expletive shakeup. Out-goalied every night. No finish, no urgency. This team just angers fans on most nights. Bouchard again. Another mistake on the first goal. Pickard absolutely shocking on the second. What an expletive mess they are. Absolute joke against one of the worst defenses in the league. Signed, Andy Pandy. I think he sums it up nicely. Haas is not happy tonight. Haas texting in saying, the Oilers are a joke. I can't watch this team anymore. Signed, Haas. And then... this text comes in and says, hey, guys, have a blast with the postgame tonight. It's going to be fire. My question is, who is actually the GM of this organization? This isn't a slow start anymore. It's a piss-poor season riddled with players that have been very questionable heart and work ethic. Leadership comes from the top. I'm not sure the top knows what they are doing. Thanks, guys. Have a great show. Yikes. All right, let's welcome in Matt Kassian. There he is. Cass, it's a little heated on the text line, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat as well. Keep it going. We'll keep tabs on that. This team, they can't score on Amazon Prime. We say that in jest, but they have been shut out 3 times already through 19 games. 3 times all of last regular season. is how much they were shut out. They got shut out once in the Stanley Cup final, so 4 times total. They're on the cusp of matching that if they have another stinker. And Cass, if they play in the offensive zone or attack, quote unquote, the way they did tonight, that 4th shutout loss of the season, I feel like, is coming quickly.
Oh, really quickly. Can you say perimeter? How many times are we going to say perimeter tonight? It's going to be a lot. If someone's still taking the odds on over under on uses of the word perimeter, I'd have it around 15 to 20, somewhere in that range, because they were a perimeter team. Just nothing in front of the nets, guys. Nothing. Power play, nothing in front. 5-on-5, a couple plays there, right on the doorstep. But aside from that, nothing there. Against a Montreal team that has been an absolute wet paper bag in terms of defending 5-on-5 this year, you made them look like they were absolutely lights out. And it wasn't getting goalied. It wasn't like you had a goaltender who was standing on his head, making all kinds of unbelievable saves. Montembeault was like, yeah, he was good, but he just had to be good. He didn't have to be great. So you didn't get goalied. You were way too perimeter. It was an ugly one. And I think it stings that much more because of the way that they have lost some of the games they've lost recently, where they've dropped leads. So it's like you drop leads, a game like tonight, historically, probably the game where the power play gets you going. You score that first one and it's like a big momentum thing. You get some juice, you get some jam, you feel into it. And your power play was just flat again, and not even executing what your game plan probably was. I think, Hernan, it was you that pointed out, McDavid basically skating around in circles by himself, looking for something, and nothing there. And then so he finally tries to throw it to Leon Draisaitl, and then the play's cut off instead of just having effective puck movement. So it was a frustrating one, guys. Frustrating one to watch. As a fan, frustrating to play, as we saw from the players. And guys, maybe I'll get your opinion on this, because this was, I'll tell you where my brain went at the end of this game. As I was kind of sitting there and listening to you guys, this is where my brain went, was, because if we look at the forward group, and this only applies to not on the power play, but to the rest of the game. If you look at this forward group, still should be capable of scoring goals.
Yes.
But is it fair if I were to put forth this thought, and you can take it or leave it, disagree, agree, whatever you want to do with it, is I think the Oilers' lack of offense, particularly 5-on-5, their lack of ability to score goals. Now, there have been times there's been finish issues. Is it because they are not nearly threatening on the rush as they have been historically? And is that because they just do not have the depth at defense right now?
Go ahead, Hernan.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because today we were noticing also I don't think the defense was too bad, but yeah, a lot of, not, what is it?
Can I just say it?
Stick-on-stick passes.
Shitty passing.
Crappy passes. Yes. I'll let Tommy. I swore last time.
I'll just drop it today.
Yeah.
Beep.
Yes. And I think you're on to something there, Cass, because how many chances do they get off the rush unless it's McDavid, realistically?
None.
And McDavid's the one, because he's so fast, he's just cutting and dicing and going through the players. But Skinner, when's the last time you saw a line with Skinner or a line with Nuge or a line with Hyman do that without Connor McDavid on the ice? So I think that's a great assessment, that they're struggling mightily off the rush because they can't get the puck out of their own end cleanly.
But even with that, we'll say, and then I want to hear from you what Belzy had to say.
Yes.
But I just to jump in on that thought with Hernan, I think though even McDavid hasn't been as threatening off the rush, and I think that's even for him. So yes, there are times just because he's Connor McDavid, cuts through, is threatening because he's just so fast and explosive. But there's still times when it's like he's not as threatening because he's not getting the puck in position while he's moving to be aggressive and attack. That just a thought. So yeah, now Tommy, give us what Belzy was saying.
Well, okay, I will give us what Belzy's saying, and I agree with Belzy because he has an astute mind for the game and a great eye for it too. He says, soft, and soft. It's because they're soft, Matthew.
I love the breakdown. Yeah,
I want to add one thing to Matt's question. I love that text from Belzy. That's fair. And this might play into them
That's a fair
being
point.
soft. It's because they're soft. Matthew, that text from Sean Bell. Cass, Hernan, when they do get pucks off the rush or through a cycle and they get into the high danger area, a.k.a. what we used to call the slot, still call it the slot, they seem to have a penchant for passing it off to the side. And guess what? With their crappy passing, they don't connect. McDavid, great feed to Hyman. He whiffed on it. Yeah. That's one example. It just seems like every time they have an opportunity and a good look at the net, Cass and Hernan, and even though these guys can shoot this puck like a damn BB, they just want to pass it when they finally get that look. It frustrates me to no end when I watch them do that, and I think that's also part of the problem as well.
Yeah, I just to add to Belsey, I know Belsey's he's kind of joking around, but he's not. Like he's saying this team is soft. We had Brant Myers on last week, a couple weeks ago, and he said he compared the Oilers to the Florida team, the two teams that were in the finals. And he said the Florida team, even their best players are pricks. He goes, who is a prick on the Oilers? Who he said players should be licking their chops coming to play Edmonton because there's no one there. Well, now you have Josh Brown, sure.
Great.
And Evander Kane's hurt. But Darnell, yeah, he's got some snarl and all that, but you don't want him doing that. But, like, it's true. Who on this team pisses you off?
But I don't think that's the only thing.
No.
Now, where I take Belsey soft, and I agree with him, would be to use that word perimeter again.
Yeah, there it is.
They don't have enough guys going to the dirty areas of the ice to do whatever it takes to score a goal. Now, Hyman at times has gone there, but when he's gone there, he hasn't found ways to convert. The puck has not gone in. He's had empty net chances. He's missed. He's been one or two times he's been robbed by a goaltender who made a great save, but it's like he hasn't found ways to convert. But outside of that, they're just stuck on the perimeter right now. And so to me, that's soft. I don't think, and I'll stand by this, and we'll stand by it all year. I don't think you have to be a team where it's like every single guy's a prick to play against.
Yeah.
And everyone's dirty and all that. I think it helps, or it can help. But I don't think you have to have that to win. But you have to be willing to go to the areas of the ice and arrive with ill intention and ill attitude. And there's been too much, well, we're just going to make the pretty play, the pretty passes. We're not getting the puck to the net. We're not just going to plow someone over to find a way to score a goal.
Sean Bell chiming in one more time. Belsey says, you have to have testicular fortitude to go to the net. They did not demonstrate testicular fortitude, even attempting to go to the net tonight.
But guys, like we know there's been changes to the lineup, but I mean it's still a lot of the guys that were here last year.
There's good players on this roster.
What changed? Like what? Like I mean, okay, I look at a Skinner. Sure, he might not be that kind of guy. Podkolzin, he fights for a lot of pucks, but he doesn't go around the net a lot. So, like, what changed here? Because, yes, I get you lost some grit and some speed and all that. But, I mean, guys, like Ryan McLeod last year, we kept complaining because he would never go near the blue paint. So, there's the core is still here. Well, why don't they go there anymore? Like, why is it not?
If I suggested to you guys to answer Hernan's question that they think they're too good, whether they, don't say it outwardly, but internally, collectively, they think they're too good to go to the tough areas and that they can prance and dance their way around a game and against the opponents and still win. What would you say to that?
I think that's got to be part of it. Doesn't it have to be part of it? Like where mentally you're just like, oh, we can make the pretty play. Oh,
they think that.
Yeah. But so here comes the analytics point.
Go for it.
Is that they still have had a decent amount of chances overall, and they haven't found ways to bury. And they've had possession. The analytics look great. They should be winning almost every game with the analytics. But the separation for me then between that, because analytics help us understand what happened, is at times they have been getting really good chances and they haven't found ways to bury. But in those moments in a season when you're struggling with that, that's when the grit has to go up. And when I say grit, same thing. I'm not talking about just running people over. I'm not talking about getting in fights. I'm not talking about, Ryan Reevesing somebody at the side of the net, although at times that can help. Sure. Not what I'm saying. But they just mentally seem to have a refusal. And I'll jump to a word, Hernan, you said earlier, and then you guys jump in. They seem to have a refusal to play with urgency. They seem to have a refusal to play with urgency.
Agreed. And I think that kind of works hand in hand with what I said about it's up here. They think they're going to be okay. They can look down the bench and see 29, 97, 18s. He's not going this year. 93 is not going. But those guys are being stymied. Josh Anderson was all over McDavid tonight. He drew one penalty, McDavid did, on Anderson. But he was in McDavid's kitchen all night. Draisaitl didn't have a good game. We've alluded to that a couple of times. I do think it factors in. Cass, absolutely, 100%.
Cass, what did you see on that first goal against? Because Gallagher gets the deflection. Connor Brown's there. Evan Bouchard's there. Ekholm's kind of around the net with the other forward. What did you see on that play for Gallagher to be so wide open?
I mean, at the start, it starts with a turnover in the offensive zone. So let's start there, where you had full possession and you turned it over in the offensive zone. Now it's a nice tip, but from Brown's standpoint, you're coming back to help there. And that's where it can be tricky as a winger, where you're not used to playing as a centerman, which, he ends up in this position or this sequence. He's kind of covering as a centerman would in this. And he just plays the wrong side of the body. He gets caught top ice. So if you look, he ends up on Gallagher's left hip. Now, you have to recognize, as a defensive player, you have to recognize what hand. And coaches talk about this all the time, and it's one of the most important things if you're a coach and you're coaching kids that you can do, especially if they're defenders. I mean, it really matters for everyone, but especially for defenders or playing defense, is recognizing hands. And we at pro level, you talk about it all the time. Recognizing sticks, recognizing hands. Which way does a guy shoot? Now, Brendan Gallagher's right-handed. He's right-handed. So when you're going to defend, you don't want to be, and he doesn't have the puck and you're going to play defense. First, if you're not a defenseman that's used to fronting somebody, you're not going to try to front the guy, because sometimes defensive technique is you front them, or you put yourself in between you're not standing behind them, you're standing in front of them, or go the front between them and the net. Now that's to block shots, it's to take away passes and plays. There's different reasons to do it. Now, Connor Brown in this instant, it's not what he's doing. And he shouldn't be trying to front. So if you're not trying to front the guy, what are you supposed to do in front of the net? Hands and sticks.
Just stand there. Don't just stand there.
Yeah.
It's not just don't just stand there, because the reality is if he's standing on his right side, he's in on that play. That play's not getting tipped.
Correct.
Right? So he gets caught because he cheats, essentially, and you can see he gets spun off that left hip. Now, the better play is if he's on that right hip, you're going stick on stick, right? You're putting your stick where his stick is, and the play's broken up, and it's not a tip. So it was a great tip by Gallagher. As a guy who's done that, plays well in front of the net, very, very good, hard to play against in front of the net. Not a big guy, plays heavy down low. He's very good in front of the net. Surprisingly difficult to move for his size. Strong guy, plays well there. But, it was a non-recognition of what hand the player is. You get caught on the wrong side of the body, so he has an easy ability, unimpeded ability to make the tip.
780-218-9999. The Oilers fall 3-0 to the Montreal Canadiens, 0-1-1 on this 3-game Eastern Canadian road trip. Mike in Thunder Bay texting in just wrote, "That sucked." Stanley in YYC says, "Hate it when the Oilers are on prime. Just know it's going to be another night without scoring. At least the penalty kill figured it out a bit, I guess. Then every other aspect of the Oilers game falls off a cliff. Too cute, no effort at all this game. Something has to be done, right? This can't keep continuing. What options are there even?" Stanley in YYC. I don't think they're going to go and just make a huge trade or anything like that. I think they're going to be methodical. Yes, they're keeping their eyes on a lot of defensemen, including one in particular on the Habs tonight. Right shot guy, but it's hard to come by right shot defenseman. I know they're going to need one, but
they are. Tonight, you know who? Go ahead, Tommy. Finish that. I was just
going to say, I was told tonight that it might get to a situation where they can't be picky and they just need to bolster the defense. Go ahead, Cass.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I had an interesting thought today. And with them playing the Sens tomorrow, an interesting one. There would be, not necessarily a guy that's going to play in your top four. You don't expect him to play in your top four, but on the right side that could help potentially could be Calgary Cochrane product, Jacob Bernard-Docker, who's still a young guy, hasn't been playing a lot with Ottawa recently, is a right shot guy that I kind of go, okay, well, maybe that would be someone that would fit. Now, whether they actually are looking at him or thinking about it, I have no idea. I don't sit in the GM meetings, but that could be one where I was like, cost effective potentially for an Alberta kid to come home. I was like, that could be something to think about. But that's not he's not a guy that's played in the top four consistently. So
Right.
You still probably are looking for somebody in that. And as you said, pretty tough to come by these days, Tommy. Pretty tough to come by.
And I know it's being reported out of Vancouver that they're not going to wait. They're working the phones. They're trying to bolster their decors. So
Who, the Oilers?
No, Vancouver.
Oh, Vancouver, yeah.
So they're not happy. You're seeing Vinny kind of in and out of the lineup. I don't think Tockett's too high on the big dude, but
That's fair, and I want to believe that report, but it also could be trying to appease the fan base to get them to settle down a little bit.
100%. Yeah,
that
of
could be a
course.
tactic.
But
we'll see.
but you look at both decors and they both need upgrades, right?
Oh,
so it's
without
like
question.
who's gonna get the better player at this point? But
Who's looking at who though? Like which
Exactly.
defenseman are they targeting in Van? Which one's the Oilers starting to circle? They have eyes on a lot of D-men, I was told as well, when it comes to Edmonton and its blue line and potential upgrades eventually here. Yeah. If Vancouver could go and pull off a trade. Listen, really quickly, Vancouver could go pull off a trade tomorrow,
yeah,
and they could go get a guy, and it does help them, or maybe it's a trade that doesn't work out, whatever. But that shouldn't affect the Oilers' plan of attack or urgency. Like, you still got to do it your way, do what's right, and don't get forced into something that you might not be ready for. Find and identify the right guy or guys, and then make a trade for them. And that might not be the same guy Vancouver's looking at.
But you said that they told you that like they might have to take whatever they can get at this point.
It might
And-
have to be a left shot guy because there's not a lot of good
Okay.
right shot options available. But they can't be picky. They might be in a situation where they can't be picky. We'll see how it goes.
Guys, I guess I'll ask the question. What did everybody make of Josh Brown's debut?
Cass, go for it.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Not going to play in your top four. It was okay. It didn't look like the speed crushed him, which was, I think, for me, the concern. But he was okay. But he's also not the answer.
No.
So how ultimately did I feel about it? Despite what you think about Darnell Nurse's contract, I miss Darnell Nurse already.
Yeah. And listen, Brown played more than I think Tom and I thought he would. He was at 11:58, still the lowest. Got some PK time.
Yep.
I think in the later power play Montreal got some PK time, but he made some decent plays. There's two back-to-back plays we were watching in the second where he muffed up the puck pretty bad, not with a lot of pressure there. So and you know how the nasty chat goes. A lot of people not happy with his performance, but I agree with Cass. I'm not going to sit here and just trash a guy just to do it, right? Like I don't think he wasn't terrible.
He's not the reason why they lost.
No, he wasn't the reason why they lost
No,
0-0.
no,
Let's be honest.
not at all.
Yeah.
No, it was Stuart Skinner. It's his fault.
And Nurse.
How dare you be clever on this show?
And Darnell Nurse. It was Darnell Nurse's fault. Yeah.
Brown, just stat line, by the way, 2 penalty minutes, 11:58, like Nanso was talking about, played 16 shifts with 2 hits. Puck stuff, not good for him, but
we know that, right?
we knew that. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you came in here expecting him to shoot out the lights, that'd be a little bit unreasonable. I'll throw one more at you in regard to this point of discussion with Josh Brown. When Jack Guy dropped Hyman with that open ice hit, should Brown have gone after Jack Guy? And I think I saw him jawing at the Habs bench. Like, is that where you have to come in playing your first game for your new team and establish yourself, Cass, or was that not the right time?
Well, the challenge with the timing is Goalie hadn't returned yet at that point. Like, he blocked that shot. He was still out. Like, he hadn't returned to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get a guy to fight unless you jump him, because they're not going to go down to 4D. And they know that. They understand that. Like, so you're going to take a penalty to do it. Now your penalty kill, 3 games in a row. Great. Hey, there's a positive. Hey, hooray. Analytical's been a little bit better. But you still have a very percentage-wise horrible, awful penalty kill. And so you're going to be tentative. And then it's, defensemen. So you in terms of run-ins, it's like unless you're out there against them on a face-off where you get a chance, it's like you're going to be running way out of position to try to get to the guy in the first place. And you're going to be taking a penalty to do it because of distance traveled with the way the rules go. So it's like, well, if he was right there, yeah, maybe. But even then, guys, like, do you think that hit was that horrible?
No.
Like, it wasn't like the Ryan Reeves. Like, I didn't think it was dirty. Like,
stood him up.
Could they? Yeah, I didn't think it was horrible. Yeah. So I guess to answer the question is, I don't think in that situation I would have had the expectation. Like, I don't think the coaches are sitting in the intermission or after the game. They're not going to be like, wish Brown would have grabbed somebody in that instant. Like, I don't think that that's the situation. I don't think that's the case.
But to Tommy's point, I do think he tried, and I think the what's his name again? Jack. I think he kind of turned it down, like, because it was still 0.
Well, yeah, because they had 5 defensemen,
5 D men.
Yeah, and you don't want to put whatever happens. You just didn't want to put your team in a worse spot. And why take the fight? Right? Like, it was a clean hit.
Yeah.
So I think Josh Brown tried.
Yep.
Yeah, because you said he was.
You could see him kind of saying something to the bench. I assumed he was trying to initiate something, but Cass, good point. That's why I asked you. You know the art of engaging in fisticuffs in the National Hockey League. So, I mean, I can't tell you how it is because I've never done it. Nanso's never done it. He only fights on.
Well, I mean, bottom line is Tom. It's Dion, like, defenseman and defenseman.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little more difficult. And Montreal had a guy out at that time.
Yeah.
And then the moment passes and it's like, fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to take a penalty. Like, if you get a chance at him, sure. If he ends up in front of your net and you're right there, great. Mm-hmm. Try to get it going. But I don't think that he really bumped into him after that point. So, yeah.
I think the only
non-factor.
Starter.
Yeah, I think the only case was maybe an interference. I know the Oilers bench was up in arms about it. But
maybe.
Yeah, it's borderline call, right?
It's a physical.
It's borderline. Like, I didn't have an issue that they didn't call it a penalty. If they would have called it a penalty, I probably wouldn't have had an issue with it either. It's like one of the kind of tweeners. Could have gone either way. Is it a penalty? Is it not a penalty? Right? Like, where you're like, okay, depending on the ref and the angle and where they saw, they may have called it, they may not have called it, but it wasn't some big, huge, horrible moment.
No, fair point. All right, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Apple Music, as well as the EdmontonSportsTalk.com audio player. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. The Oilers fall 3-0 to the Montreal Canadiens in what was a lackluster performance. You could even say effort tonight. And Edmonton will try to salvage a couple more points and their first win of this trip, and only win if they can get it tomorrow against the Ottawa Senators. 5 o'clock puck drop. We're on the air 4 o'clock here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Shaggy in St. Albert texting in saying, Oilers against the bottom feeder. What a surprise. They played down to their opponent. Impotent offense strikes again, or more accurately, does not strike again. Pickard was okay. Had a 900 save percentage, but once again, Oilers make opponents' goalie look like an all-star. Power play stunk again during the McDavid/Draisaitl era. This team's identity has been defined as high-level talent, low-level effort, and heart, usually outworked by inferior teams, self-entitled, not willing to pay the price. They are losing to Sens tomorrow as well. Pathetic effort. Last year's finals appearance is the outlier. Teams with this low level of compete and heart don't win cups. Shaggy from St. Albert with the Heat tonight. I'll go to Byron, and then I think we're going to go inside the Oilers locker room, right?
Sure. Byron. We got Coach and Mattias Ekholm.
Okay. On Cass, we have a few more minutes with you. That's a yes? Absolutely. All right. Byron says, hey, boys, this team got it handed to them in the third. Is there cause for concern that they just seem passive and not hungry enough? They definitely don't have the team they had last year. They cannot go on a run of wins like they did last year. Look old and slow, in my opinion. -10 on their goal diff. Not scoring. Change the power play up, please. Byron from Winnipeg. La Bamba guy, real quick here. I'm going to get you guys to chime in on this. Is Ekholm hurt? Seems like he's on the ice for almost every goals against every game. Bush is lazy. That explains him. But Cass, what are you seeing from Mattias Ekholm?
I think Mattias Ekholm has been a little bit negatively affected here by Evan Bouchard's play, who I think hasn't played very well the last couple of games. Feel free to disagree with me, guys.
I can't
on that, but I think he's had some, we'll call it covering to do, trying to cover his partner's butt in some situations, and it hasn't benefited or helped him. So I think he's been all right. There's been moments he's been really good. And there's been moments he's just been all right. And part of that is probably just even a product of the team. I mean, it's, you're trying to create offense and force turnovers and different things. Yeah. Sorry. I'll leave it at that. I think he's been hurt this year by Evan Bouchard's inconsistency.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I mean, he takes a lot of minuses, a lot of dashes, and some of them are not even close to being on him. If you just look at the Toronto game tonight, they were both -3. They played a lot. They struggled. Yeah, I agree with Cass. I think a lot has to do with the play of Evan Bouchard. He also has a lot of miles on him.
35 years old.
35 years old. He plays rough and tough game. Can't imagine how he feels after every game. Now, these guys are in tip-top shape. I get it, but the miles might be catching up just a little bit here. So, and that's why it hurts with Darnell, because Darnell eats up a lot of those minutes that can help the top pair. And with him being out, it's going to just fall more on Mattias Ekholm, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because he's really good, but I mean, he's gonna need some serious help, and especially from his partner.
You want him to go a few extra miles, you're going to need to help him out, and that's on Evan Bouchard to wake up and smell the coffee, because it ain't happening right now for old Bouch. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room, and we'll get some thoughts from Cass and look ahead to tomorrow's game as we roll along here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Speaking of the Viking, here he is.
Maybe I'm paraphrasing, kind of circling more than maybe getting inside for those quote-unquote greasy goals. Is that kind of what you saw or what you thought as well?
Yeah, I mean, very fair. We're obviously not scoring at the rate that we usually do right now, and when you don't and things aren't going your way, that's when you got to go back to your fundamentals and just play it simple, get the puck low to high, go to the net, try to beat your guy out of the corner and get that rebound or get that tip or whatever it is. And unfortunately, we did not do a good enough job of that tonight. It's kind of like we're playing okay, but we're not playing good enough. So we got to learn from this, and we got a quick turnaround and be better tomorrow.
There was in the first period a long delayed penalty where you had quite a few chances, and then the power play. Was that kind of an early turning point, that goal there on the delayed penalty, or the power play might have made a difference tonight?
Yeah, I'm sure you can find a bunch of those situations throughout the first 39 minutes before they scored. I mean, we had some chances. I feel like we have chances every night, but right now we're not bearing down on the looks that we're getting. And as I said earlier, we gotta stick with it. We know we have a lot of really, really good goal scorers in here, and everybody can contribute, but right now for whatever reason it hasn't gone in for us, and that's also when you got to be comfortable just having a 0-0 game and do the little details, and maybe you score a goal in the 59th minute. That's just sometimes what happens. So I think there's lessons to be learned tonight. I didn't think necessarily they outplayed us. It was more we weren't structured enough, and we didn't pay enough dividends to the details for that last 22 minutes or whatever that was.
I know you're not a forward, but did it feel sort of suffocating on the inside? Like you were just kept to the outside all night and couldn't break in?
Again, really hard for me to answer that. I try to focus on my game and try to be as good as I can be every night, but I didn't feel that, I didn't see that, I didn't hear that, so I don't think so. I think it's just a matter of right now we got to simplify things and the goals will come.
Did you guys miss Nurse's presence out there today?
Yeah, obviously he's a vocal leader on our team, and he plays with an edge, and he's he's a huge part of this team, so obviously we'll miss him, and hopefully he'll be back soon, but we got guys that can step in and do a good job.
All right, that was the well-spoken and heavily used Mattias Ekholm, -3, alongside his defensive partner, Evan Bouchard, tonight. He took the high road or deflected on the penetrating the middle aspect of playing offense. I heard it, I saw it, I felt it, and I didn't even play in the game. They couldn't get to the middle. I don't know if they were suffocated out of the middle or they're just unwilling to attack. I'd probably go with the latter. They were unwilling to attack the middle.
I'm just tired of hearing, we got to learn a lesson and move on. Like, how many times do we have to hear that with this team? Like, again,
it's a throwaway excuse.
Yeah, and then we're playing good. Like,
Jim Bobby Hutchinson said, "Sorry, Ek, you guys played horribly." And that was in the nasty chat. Cass, anything of value from Mattias?
Yeah, well, I mean, surprise, surprise, he agrees with me if you kind of bit and pieces it out or take bits and pieces out in that, when the puck's not going in and they have been getting chances, and there have been times they've been getting chances, when it's not going in for you, that's the time to simplify. Yeah. And they didn't, and that's the answer to that question of attacking the middle of the ice, getting pucks to the net, getting bodies to the net. Like, that's simple hockey, right? Simple hockey is move the puck low to high, get it to the middle, get a puck to the net, get bodies there, right? Create some chaos, create some energy, create a scrum after the whistle because you have bodies flying in there and someone's getting knocked over and you're knocking somebody over and emotions start to pour out of you a little bit because you're engaged in it instead of like, not that it's pawn hockey to pass it around the exterior of the ice, but it kind of has that feel to it. You're not going to be involved and engaged in that game. And then, again, that's what I think part of the problem is. So it's nice to know he agrees with me, even if he's not going to be maybe as vocal about it and as blunt about it.
Two very articulate, big human beings agreeing with one another.
I'll give him a pass because he's
both with beards too, although his is nicer.
Yeah.
Oh,
you're giving him a pass. I get it. Like, listen, the guy is a workhorse for this team.
Yeah.
And he's not going to bury and sewer his guys. So we know he handled that really well, like he always does. Brock Harrison in the nasty chat says Hyman and Nuge should find themselves on the bottom six as of tomorrow. Pathetic hockey. Doug, the expletive in, also via the nasty chat, says everyone knows it's the playoffs where you get paid. Boosh will turn it up if the Oilers make the playoffs. And, so lots going on in there. Cass fighting with people in the nasty chat, which I love to see. It makes me giggle a little bit. All right, we have a little bit more audio, and then we'll get Cass's final thoughts and look ahead to tomorrow. Is that okay? What do we have, Hernan?
Here's Coach K.
Okay, let's go.
Time and enough pressure. What was maybe missing from getting an early goal or one even to follow?
Absolutely. We had a lot of possession time, but a lot on the perimeter. Especially in the second period. It was a lot of time in the offensive zone, but we really didn't generate very much. They didn't give us many chances. I don't think we had our first 5-on-5 chance until at least second half of that period. So as good as it looked, that we really didn't have many opportunities to score.
Was that something that they were doing or something you want to see?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. A lot of credit to them. Defending, keeping us out to the outside and not getting beat. But, we can work for our chances too, whether it's making a few more passes, not turning the puck over the blue line, getting a little more presence around the net. Yeah, there's some stuff that we can do a little bit better, but a lot of credit to Montreal because they did a lot of good things.
Speaking of presence, how much did you miss Darnell Nurse's presence here tonight?
Well, a lot. Darnell's a good defender, but also generates a lot of offense. Just carrying the puck out of the zone, creating turnovers on line rush against, and in the offensive zone, just being able to get those wrist shots through the net. Those are things that he's good at.
That's a young team over there. Is their speed one of the things that kind of had you guys on your heels in the neutral zone tonight?
Yeah, they had a lot of speed, and I think a lot of speed, not so much difficulty for us defending, but the speed of them checking, not giving us time, space. They were able to skate and close. Definitely saw that.
Kris, when you talk about doing more ourselves to create chances, is that kind of a one-game scenario, or is that something you find is happening more than you would like?
No, well, if you look at our goal scoring, we're obviously near the bottom of the NHL, but generating chances, shots from the slots, that's usually the big one. We're ranked, most offensive zone metrics, we're top 5, if not top 3. So, whether those are wrong or misleading, but we are doing a lot of good things. Tonight, I thought we got away from that. But, Yeah, overall, I think it's been good.
Okay, I'll just say this. That was Kris Knoblauch there. All those really nice offensive zone metrics, they're not leading to anything. You're getting diddly squat in terms of offense overall this year. Shutout for the third time already this season through 19 games. I think it's to the point, boys, where we just need to look at that goal column and the goals against column and how many you got more than the other column in a positive direction, because the metrics, whether or not you have possession or you're getting high danger chance, they're not doing anything with that stuff. They're shooting muffins. They're putting it into chests. And they're not scoring.
They don't win you games.
No, analytics don't win you games. Again, the word that I'll jump on that he used is perimeter.
He said it.
Yeah,
he used
times.
that word.
Yes,
he said it. Not shocked and color me surprised that he said it, because that's the issue. And it's like there's good things with the analytics. Their shooting percentage is horrible, not historically, because shooting percentage is one you can look at to say, okay, generally speaking, guys, convert at about this rate.
Correct. Fair. Absolutely.
And their shooting percentage has been abysmal, and they have generated grade A chances. Yes. But they haven't found ways to bury them. And should that be concerning? Well, of course it should be concerning, because what that tells you from an engagement standpoint, from a desperation standpoint, from a do anything to win standpoint, that you're mentally not quite there, and you need to get your team there. Now, I get you're not going to throw that out there, but even, and maybe this is just me, but even in that, and in his statements saying about, Knoblauch saying there's things we need to do better, it's starting to take a little bit, I don't want to say a negative road, but he's starting to maybe give a little bit more of, okay, listen, the reality is hitting us a little bit here, and we have to fix these things. Maybe a little bit of that. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen, I don't want to call it him cracking, but he has opened up the Pandora's box of honesty a couple more times than he usually has or is known to do. And I think that's an indicator as to his frustration starting to come up, because he plays it calm, cool, and collected. Like what we see on camera and hear post-game when they lose and play a stinker like they do tonight might not be what we hear or what those guys in the room see in a meeting or post-game breakdown.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, sometimes there can be a complete disconnect right between the two, and they can be two completely different things.
Yep.
Right. Where it's just like, well, I'm going to go say this out there, but you're saying a lot different thing in. There's a reason that, if I'm typing an angry email, sometimes I wait on it till the next day, or I have someone else type it out and it looks dramatically different, or reread it for me and edit it before it gets sent, is because sometimes, depending on who you're sending the message to and what you're communicating, you have to have a filter on it. You have to change the framing of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. And what you're saying in that meeting, closed doors, before you're sending that email, is something completely different, and sometimes with a little bit more heat to it.
Yes. All right, Sean Bell, one more text. It's directed towards you, Cass. Says, expletive, writes Cass, go full Constantine talking about the handedness. So you guys both played for Kevin Constantine. Both
he's texting. He knows he's texting me too. Yeah. We got a side text going here too. But it's true. I mean, Constantine was heavy on that, but coaches do, and not just Kevin Constantine. They talk about it because it's important. Because what hand a player is changes your angles, changes how you defend, changes your body positioning. So going back to that, the first goal against for Edmonton on that one.
All right, Cass. Tomorrow night against the Ottawa Senators, they want to salvage a couple points here, get a win on this Eastern Canadian road trip where they blew a lead in the third period, picked up a point after salvaging it with a late goal with the goalie pulled in Toronto on Saturday, and then they just don't show up for this one in Montreal. Physically, they were there, but outside of that, no, they didn't show up. And then so tomorrow, Cass, what happens? How do they prep? How do they approach tomorrow as they look to beat the Ottawa Senators?
Oh, what happens? I don't know. I mean, I hope you're seeing the cornered animal type of mentality, right? I hope we see a desperate game because, we went into this road trip saying, well, 2-1 is good, right? We'd be happy with 2-1.
Yep.
Well, they're 0-1 right now. I mean, you lose in overtime. It was a bad road trip. Now you win and you end up 500. It's not good, but you at least sort of salvage to a certain extent, the Eastern swing. And I hope you're just after that game tonight. I hope there is the urgency, which I hope translates into pucks around the net, bodies around the net, crashing the net, and just that level of desperation and emotion. Now, not useless emotion, not just rage for rage's sake, not unbridled, unchecked, unconstrained, uncontrolled emotion, but that level of emotion that pulls everyone into the game, physically engages them, emotionally engages them, mentally engages them to where they're playing in and around the net, they're getting dirty, gritty goals, and they're doing whatever it takes to win.
Cass, you do whatever it takes to win, especially on the pre- and post-game show, and that's why we love you and admire you.
Thanks, buddy.
We're glad that you're
Appreciate
our
it.
guy. Yep. Great stuff as always, my friend. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, Gas.
Sounds good, bud.
There you go. Matt Kassian, our game analyst, helping us break down Edmonton's 3-0 loss in Montreal tonight. Uber frustrating if you're an Oiler fan. Even the game as a whole, like if you had no vested interest in either one of those teams and you're just watching that game, you'd be like, this game's boring.
It was a bit of a snooze fest, not gonna lie. And yeah, I mean, you look at our chat on the Nasty Chat, is absolutely just buzzing right now. Even our inbox, I can't even keep track of it right now. Doing my best to see if we can get some good. There's a lot of good text, Tommy, but there's a few things that people are bringing up. Why don't they bring up young guys? Like, listen, I just want to. Like this organization went through. We all went through it. Decade of darkness. We went through a lot of lean years because this team was young. Like, I get the excitement to call up Noah Phillip and Matty Savoy, but guys, they're not turning this team around. Okay, and you're talking about speed. Last time I checked, Matt Savoy is not a speed demon.
No, he's just a young guy. He's quick.
Yeah.
He skates well.
Like, guys, this team has to figure it out. They are good enough. They are.
They have the players who can do it. It's just them being engaged and willing to put the effort and execution in to make it happen.
Yeah, so like,
and it's been spotty so far this year.
I get it. I get the excitement for young guys, but believe me, if Noah Phillip was here, they still lose 3-0. If Matt Savoy's here, they still lose 3-0. Like, it's not going to change anything. And in terms of acquiring a defenseman, yes, there's a lot of names being thrown out there. A lot. But I've always said, until it's one of the legit insiders, don't believe it. Don't believe it. And yes, we all agree they need an upgrade. And it'd be great if they could do it tomorrow. We all want that, guys. It's not like we're sitting here discounting whatever you guys are bringing up, that they need a defense, that they need this. We understand what they need. The decore's not good enough. And some people are even pointing to now, Tom,
the coach.
That goaltending might be a bigger issue than the defense.
Well, I mean, listen, it's not the biggest issue. It hasn't been particularly great this season. We all acknowledge that handily. But the goalies can't score goals. And yes, if they would make that one save, maybe Edmonton has 2 or 3 more wins. Maybe they have 2 or 3 more wins this season. But when they say they got that save on the second goal, the Goalie one, I don't know if we're even talking about the Oilers getting an equalizer at 1-1. Seriously.
Yeah, and Carmen says maybe a rookie would spark the team. Listen, Carmen, I get it. And I get you love all the young guys. You want them all here. And I understand that. But if this team needs a rookie to get them going,
you're in trouble.
We got bigger issues here in Edmonton.
That's usually a sign that you're in trouble.
Like if Matt Savoy needs to get this team going, a Stanley Cup contender, come on. And listen, he might get a call-up.
I think he will, but
it sucks.
The circumstance has to be right.
But, Tom, it sucks that they can't play 12 forwards.
Yeah.
No, seriously. It sucks. It sucks that Noah Phillip can't be up here.
It's their own doing. They're up against it cap-wise. They thought Arvidsson would be likely ready to go by now. Didn't anticipate Darnell Nurse getting absolutely blown up by Ryan Reeves on a hit.
Listen, I said it. I said this in the offseason. I said this when I started here. This team, I think, took a step back in terms of their roster.
It did. We said it.
I don't think they're as good as. I don't think this team's going to the Stanley Cup final. I'll tell you that right now. But this team,
this group right now, this team this year still can. And people, what are you talking about? They're going to be bouncing in the first round. We're 19 games into the season, you guys. Where were they at 19 games last year?
No, but what I'm saying is I think they took a step back. I don't think this group right now is Stanley Cup winning caliber, not with the defense.
You're going to see 3 or 4 different guys on the team.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, but I'll tell you this team better well damn be a playoff team with this roster that they have right now. There's no way you shouldn't be a playoff team. There's no excuse for that. I'm sorry. But now we're talking about playoff team and a Stanley Cup contender. I think they've taken a step back from that Stanley Cup contender because the defense is not a Stanley Cup caliber defense.
No.
The goaltending's not playing.
Everybody is capable of playing better on this roster. Everybody. Regardless of their overall talent and what they make up as a unit. The defense, no, not sexy on paper. Can they all play better? Uh-huh. Their best guys aren't playing good.
No.
One of their best guys is injured for 5 to 10 games.
And on Nurse too, yes, we understand the value of him. Is he the I mean, he still struggles a lot, Tom. Let's just be clear here. Like he has his struggles within the game. Sometimes he's brilliant. This year he's been really good.
Yeah.
Much better than he was last year.
He's been solid.
And tonight, did you miss him? Sure.
Yes.
You did, because he's better than
four of
the defensemen that have played tonight.
Yes. Yeah, of course you miss him. You miss Victor Arvidsson.
And that's what bugs me, is that their own doing, Tom, where they can't have a normal roster. You have to play 11-7, where the coach doesn't like it.
You can't even have 23 guys on the roster.
Like, and yeah, for the listeners and the fans that want to see some young guys get an opportunity, you probably could if you had a normal roster, but they can't. It's unfortunate, but it's just not going to happen right now. Like, tomorrow they're going to play 11-7. I mean, do you think Arvidsson's going to be in the lineup?
Maybe. I don't know. Probably less of a chance because it's back-to-back, but I don't think they thought he'd be out for this one.
And Carmen, that's a good question. And I think Cass asked us this a lot of times. What is this team identity? Skill?
Skill, but where's the will?
Yeah.
When it's there, they're pretty damn good. When it's not, you get that.
They rely too much on their skill, and they feel like they don't have to work. And look at tonight. No urgency. There's no, there's no give a, you know what. There's just, let's go through the motions.
Look nice.
And just look at Montreal's D-core, Tommy. Like,
look at that team. It's bad.
It is.
They're a bad team.
That's why it's disappointing. And tomorrow you're going to go play one of the Kachucks, and the feistiness that team brings.
Maybe Kachuk wakes them up. I don't know. But knowing these guys right now, they could go the other route.
Would you like
turn away?
Would you like to see when they're like? I know a lot of people are asking about moving Nuge off the power play. That's not going to happen. It would have happened, but
yeah, they're not.
So
they did one practice without those guys up there, and then they didn't use that formation in the game.
I'm talking about the power play, and I'm talking about when you pull the goalie, Tom, which is a rare time. You're down. Hopefully the Oilers don't have to do it much, but it's always the same guys. Why not mix it up a bit? Why not? Nuge is a guy that hasn't done much this season. Why not throw a guy? Pick a name. I don't know. Everybody loves Paul Colson.
No, do not put.
No, but I'm saying, like,
I'd put Henrique out there.
He's doing nothing, so why not let another guy go out there and try to?
Well, he does nothing either. Before someone texts, but he retrieves pucks. Great.
You keep going back to the same thing, and it's not working. And I get it; it's a historic power play and all that, but it's not going to kill you for one game to say, "Hey, Nuge, come here for a sec."
Get Bouchard off of there. I don't care. He's a shin pad assassin. If you really want to send a message, have consequences with your actions.
Tommy, come on. Look at the last game. Bush made 2 horrendous mistakes and played even more.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, they put him back out there in overtime. Not that it was his fault that they lost. Draisaitl made a bad pass, backhander that Marner took back the other way and fired home. So many problems with this team right now.
Tom, if the Oilers drop one tomorrow,
that's going to be a good show. C-Mac was saying, rant.
It's going to be like the Tyson fight. It's going to be buffering because we're going to have so much people watching.
All right, couple of texts as we wind things down here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Shout out to Boston Pizza. Shout out to Hudson's. Shout out to all of our fantastic sponsors here on the pre- and post-game shows. Damon Bunting, Advantage Sports Therapy as well, and medicine. They're fantastic. Jake from Ontario, Texans, says, hey, guys, a major frustrating thing with this team is that they are only 4 points behind Vegas. So many lost points already that should have them in first place, but they can't put anything together. Jake from Ontario, well said and good point. They're still in the mix. A couple more, then we're going to get to the player of the game. Good luck, Hernan, with that one. Library Pat says, hey, Latino Heat. Hernan, I think when you say step up, you're sounding a lot like 97 screaming, dig in right now.
Dig in.
That's what you want to yell. You want to throw in expletives too, but we're a PG-13 type of show.
Go ahead.
Lingus says, hey, boys, I am serious. Had JJ destroyed this team by getting rid of the heart and talent and glue of the team? I don't think so, Lingus, but I give it another 20 games, I suppose. I don't think so still, even though they're kind of ho-hum so far this year. Grumpy Cat says, serious question, Montembeault getting a fine or suspension for knocking the net off. Hashtag Bushley. Good job, Bettman. I thought that would have been a penalty. They scored. The Oilers scored. I think it was Ekholm's slapper went crossbar down. It was a nice shot. What had happened prior to that, for those that maybe didn't catch it, whatever, Hyman crashed into Montembeault. It kind of knocked the net loose. They put it back into place, and Montembeault literally pushed it off with his glove. I noticed it right away. I'm like, you can't do that. That's a penalty. He did that on purpose, right? So, or at least let the goal stand. But no, there was no repercussions for that. Grumpy Cat, I was wondering that right away, and that was one thing that had me scratching my head as well. Cal in the park, what's up, Cal? Says, Hernan's right. This team has no want, need, or desire to do what it takes to win. Question of Knoblauch is not the definition of stupidity, doing the same thing over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Change up the power play. Make others get out there. Try to make a difference. You know what would be hilarious and absolutely way to lose favor with everybody in the room, especially the big dogs, if you put out your fourth liners and third pairing defense as your power play. That would send a message, but you'd lose a lot of guys along the way.
But, man, I feel like it needs to be done. Let's, for example, Tom, let's say tomorrow they're struggling mightily on the power play again. You can't keep sending out the same five guys, and I don't care at this point about how good they've been in the past. They're not good right now, and that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, maybe people don't agree with it, but the first guy to take off is Nuge. You're not getting anything from him.
Yeah.
You're not.
You know who's not too far behind, unfortunately, is Hyman.
Yeah. But it's like, it's almost like no, we can't do this, we can't do that. It's just like, come on. Like, you're struggling. And again, you're not as bad as you were last year, Tom. This team is still there. They're right there with all the other teams, but it's just the way you're playing. Like tonight, Tom, like I know Ekholm said they played good. They didn't.
They did not play good. A lot of people saying Ottawa wins tomorrow. Well, when you watch that from them the night before, I understand where that sentiment comes from. Okay, let's do it. Let's take care of some business. If you go to the Habs, which you know you can.
Oh, I didn't know that.
100% you can go to the Habs.
Oh, I thought it always had to be an Oiler.
It's not the Oilers player of the game. There's two teams out there.
Okay.
I know Trev would usually lean towards Oilers players, but you can open it up to everybody.
Well,
it is the Damon Bunting Remax Elite player of the game because Damon Bunting's a consistent top-producing realtor, much to the contrary of the Oilers' offense this year, which is not consistently top-producing when it comes to goal scoring or offense. Damon is also someone who would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. He's community-driven, understands what it takes to make a difference in our city, so check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. He's a top-notch person, a great human being first, and then excellent realtor as well. Hernan, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I was looking at Montembeault, but I don't think he was really tested, to be honest.
There was one time I was like, oh, nice save.
Yeah.
I think it was off a redirection. I think Skinner got a redirection on when one of the Oilers finally got to the middle of the ice in front of him.
But he's definitely not getting it. I'm going to go with the defenseman. I thought he played an excellent game. He had a really good read. I know on the broadcast they showed one play he did at his own blue line with his eyes. He kind of shifted the Oilers one way and went the other way. He had an assist on the night. He led the team in ice time. with 24 minutes.
Ooh.
Mike Matheson, 1 point.
Yeah.
He was a +3 on the night. Like I said, led the team in ice time, 1 shot, 1 block shot, 1 takeaway. I thought he was really good.
Yes, he was.
For a guy who gets kind of dogged for his defensive play, I thought he was solid tonight. So he gets the Damon Bunting Player of the Game. First time I select someone from the other team.
And that's okay.
Because I didn't know I could. Because I was looking at the Oilers, Tom, and holy smokes, I don't know where I would have went with that one, man.
He could have been like expletive. Expletive.
Seriously, who was the best Oiler tonight?
Mattias Ekholm.
And like, I'm being serious here. I thought Emerson had a decent game. He was
Who was the least bad Oiler?
the least bad Oiler.
I think Sask Bill, I think it was, wrote in Josh Brown was fine. Just fine.
Yeah, like for as much heat as he takes, like I know some people are like, he was horrible. I mean, we're not saying he was great. He was just okay for 11 minutes and being the 7th defenseman, guys.
James makes a good point. I liked Emerson's gem. He was going after Slafkovsky. Yeah, he hit him good once, then gave him another, kind of rattled his cage a bit. Yeah, Emerson was all right.
Yeah, he moved
Good
the
point.
puck well. He was the one I was leaning towards because there's no one up front I was thinking of, and then I think Emerson was the only one. And Pickard with that second goal, I couldn't select him. So
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Loomis says, nah, Janmark needs to be banished. I kind of said it in jest.
yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. Any other texts you want to get to?
Well, there's so many here. Skinner, did you read Troll's note? Skinner in for Nuge, Perry in for Hyman in that spot just to light a fire under those two guys.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, why not?
I think Troll, a lot of us have been asking for that. I just don't see it happening. This coach is going to stick with what he knows and what he thinks what's worked in the past. It's just not working this year.
Yeah.
And it might. All it takes is a couple goals on one night and you can open the floodgates. But right now, Tom, it's tough sledding there for that power play.
It's not great. PK, though, silver lining. That's maybe the player of the game is the penalty kill.
4 games in a row.
Very nice. That's a sign that it's starting to take a bit, which is long overdue, but at least it's starting to pick it up. One element of the Oilers game, especially on the special team side. John of St. Albert says, Tom and Hernan, the Oilers right now, as of today, couldn't beat the Edmonton Oil Kings or the Kings beat them. Also, John says, if the team does not make the playoffs, what changes do you guys want to see happen? I think there's way too much hockey left to be played, and I don't know how much different the team will look around the trade deadline compared to today. Maybe there is a middle season move. So I just think it would be...
Let's talk in March.
A shot in the dark.
Yeah.
In March, we'll have a better idea. Maybe some guys get their ass in gear and wake up, and we're not talking about the same problems you would hope, because what we're seeing at 9-8-2 here through 19 games is not supposed to be what this Oilers team identity is, and that's inconsistent right now. So we'll see if they get that cornered mentality and start to play really well. Okay. Jay in the Park says Bouchard needs the pine for a game, and McLovin adds, so far tonight, I've heard other texters mention old, slow, and soft, the four-headed monster. McLovin also threw this in earlier, said, hey, Tommy, any truth behind the Marcus Pettersson trade rumors with Edmonton? I don't know. I will just repeat what I was told. The Oilers scouting department and management team's looking at a lot of defensemen right now. And it was also indicated to me that depending on what the market looks like, they might not be able to get picky and only go for a right shot guy. They might have to look at a left shot guy, depending on how things play out. But the other thing I'll say, too, is anytime you mention Edmonton in a trade rumor, you get clicks.
Yes.
That's
and listen, Marcus Pettersson, obviously he'd be a good fit. Right?
He's a left shot guy.
Yeah.
But
he's better. Well,
he's better than the 3 guys that have been rotating on the right side.
Yes, he is.
He's not bad. I don't think he's better than the 3 guys that are your regulars on the left side.
Not the way Kulak's playing.
Not the way Nurse is playing.
Yeah. No. So
yeah.
He's I thought he had term. That's why I didn't think it was realistic. But then we looked it up the other day, and he's done after this year.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh's kind of heading in the wrong way, so he might be there to have. But again, it's a guy that's a UFA after this year. what are you going to willing to give up for a rental? Because that's what he'd probably be, unless you can sign him, right? So, yeah, there's a lot of options out there. I wouldn't commit to just one, right?
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. That's so
Good stuff.
good show. All right. We went for a little while today. That was good. It was much better than the game itself, I'd say. Hopefully a little bit more entertaining. The Oilers get blanked for the third time this season. Tonight, it's the Montreal Canadiens, handing them a 3-0 loss. The Oil will look to salvage a couple points. Tomorrow night in Ottawa, 5 o'clock puck drop. We're on the air for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show at 4 p.m. We're going to cut into the Reed Wilkins show, and then we'll hand it back to Reed and Jay at 5 o'clock, and then we'll be back with the postgame show. That's going to do it for all of us here at Edmonton Sports Talk for the day. For Hernan and Matty Kassian, I'm Tom Gazzola saying thanks as always for listening and for watching. We appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out if you're watching. Ciao for now.